What's up, guys? This is Maxwell with the Inc. I'm your host, Maxwell, and today I am here with a very, very special guest. You might know him. Introducing Kumo. How you doing? How are you doing?
Hi, I'm Kumo. I am a content creator. I speak on, everything that has to do with queer culture. I love pop culture analysis through a queer lens. And yeah, that is what I do. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming. I remember, I started following Kumo years ago, when they first started doing, started doing YouTube stuff. I think the first video I watched from them was the Queer Force video, and I was like, oh my god, the more people need to see this. So I subscribed immediately, and I was right to do so because ever since the content has been elevating, getting better and better. Recently, they posted a video that just kind of blew up and went viral, and I really enjoyed the video, as I'm sure you guys did, and really wanted to have a deeper conversation about all those topics. So I was like, whoa, this is we need way more than 16 minutes. We not Sabrina Carpenter. We can't get it done in 15 minutes. Okay?
Period.
we need some more time. We need more time.
Yeah.
So actually I want to say what actually prompted you to make that video in the first place?
Okay, so that video has been sitting in the back of my mind for a long time. I think when I look at my notes app, it will say something like 2023 when I put down the title for that video, right? I put along, you cannot be mad at gay pay if you're buying it, because there was a lot of complaints from Twitter, from LPSG, even on TikTok, where gay men were complaining about these creators, but they were actively supporting them, And when I first started scripting for that video, I was approaching it through the Hollywood lens, and I wanted to speak about how, we support these gay for pay actors in traditional Hollywood, but I realized we do not actually have that power in terms of the casting and who gets picked for which gay movie. But we do have the power in terms of which influencers we platform, So I thought that is the perfect time. That is the perfect way to approach this, actually, where we have full autonomy of who we choose to give our money to. And that led me down the spiral of, gay for pay adult entertainers. And that's how that video came about. The rest is history.
Yes. The rest is history. I remember it blew up, and I was like, because at first, I'm a fan, so I'll see the video before it premieres, and I was like, oh, okay, it's about to premiere, this is about to be a good one, and then it premiered, I watched it, it was cute, I was like, okay, but then a couple of days later, I'm on my timeline, and I see the thumbnail, I'm like, oh, he must be posting the thumbnails, promote, but it was somebody else that posted it. And I was like, oh, is this going viral? Is he gonna have a moment?
The gays picked it up on Twitter, and they were posting it like crazy. And I was like, oh my God, this is promo. I've never had this happen to me before. So I think my thumbnail is now a meme that's gonna get reposted over and over again because I've seen so many posts by now. But yeah, I love that.
Yes.
If it can spread awareness, then go for it. And we've been having such interesting discussions in my comment section, so I'm really glad that it's resonating with the community and people are responding to it the way they are.
Yes, because it's a topic that a lot of people don't talk about super often. Yes. And on top of that, I think that, we've expanded this conversation to not just gay for pay adult creators, but queer baiting in general, and what that is, what that isn't, But just to kind of start off, I just want to get your take on it. In your definition, what is queer baiting?
In my definition, I would say queer baiting.
Yes.
Queer baiting is when creators or celebrities or brands or films hint at queerness, right? Whether that's through suggestive behavior, whether that's through ambiguous language, whether that's through their visuals, their writing, whatever they choose to present to us as an audience, without any intention of actual representation or solidarity, right? It is the promise of queerness with no payoff, and it is often done to attract a queer audience and hook a queer audience while maintaining mainstream appeal. That's what queerbaiting is to me.
Okay. Now, for me, I would pretty much say about the same thing, but I think it's when people deliberately either pretend to be or suggest to be gay, queer, whatever you want to call it, and they're not, and they know they're not, and they're doing it on purpose to make money off of queer people, whether that to be to watch your show or to stream your podcast or to watch your videos, buy your music, whatever it is you're using queerness, you're using being gay or whatever it is to sell something. But you know it's not the case. Have you ever seen that meme? I hate a fake gay bitch.
I love that meme.
That's me all day.
I love that meme. I will repost it like crazy. Okay, whenever I see it, instant like from me. I do hate a fake gay bitch.
Like I hate a fake gay bitch. Now, I think that is a separate thing from gay foreplay. I think gay foreplay is when you do something gay for pay. It's literally that simple. So that could be, so I think that obviously comes from the adult world, the adult entertainment world. But I also think that also extends to actors, people who play gay roles, for compensation. And I think one has a little bit more of a stain on it, for lack of a better term, stain on it than the other one. I remember when I first heard the term, I was watching the Tyra Banks show years and years and years ago, back when the Tyra Banks show was on. But I don't think I watched it as it was airing because I think it was too young when it was airing. So I think I watched the clips on YouTube.
Take a look at these two guys. The first is Kurt. He's been with his girlfriend for 6 years, and they have 3 beautiful children, and they have another one on the way, so that's gonna make 4. Then we have Aaron. He's a scuba diver who got dumped by his girlfriend just last week. And they look like 2 average all-American guys, but there's something about Aaron and Kurt that you might find shocking. They are both straight guys who, for the right price, have sex with men on camera. They've even done gay porn scenes together. They are straight men who admit, I'm gay for pay. You say that you're straight.
Yeah.
Okay, so you are attracted to women.
Of course, yeah.
But when it comes to your work in the adult world,
right,
you have sex with men.
Yeah, I know. I mean, it seems a little strange, but I mean, honestly, it's not that strange because, I mean, you get into the straight porn industry. I mean, porn is porn, honestly, is what I believe. Porn is porn, and whether it's, 2 guys, 2 girls, a guy and a girl, I say I'm straight, and I really am. I'm married, 3 kids.
So how do you get aroused for a man in a scene if you're straight?
Well, I mean, I don't really get aroused for anybody but for my fans. I mean, my fans, knowing in the back of my mind that they're watching me and they want me to perform at my best, that gives me a little motivation.
And your fans that are gay men?
Yeah.
And she had this segment about, like, gay for pay actors or whatever, for people who do adult films. And it was kind of like a Jerry Springer moment, where it was like, what? Like, this is crazy. Like, how could you, like, do that, but then, like, go home to your wife and kids at night? Like, and they know. Like, that's crazy. Like, oh, my God.
What a wild time.
The 2000s, a time. What a time. What a time to be alive. Now, we'll get to, like, the gay for pay creators later on, but I think first we're just going to start with some queerbaiting figures, people. So, let's start with the spicy one. Let's talk about Shawn Mendes. And I think you've made a video about
I have
Shawn
made a
Mendes
video
before,
of Shawn Mendes. I was still am a huge Shawn Mendes stan. I love that man. I've been with him since the MagCon days, so it's been a while. Like, we've been on this journey for a long time. And I think I've always been drawn to him because he's so ambiguous, dare I say. You never really know. Dare I say? Very ambiguous.
Dare.
You never really know what you're going to get with him. And yeah, so I love Shawn Mendes. And I think I've defended him in the past. Do I think I would defend him the same way now? Probably not. And that's what we might get into,
Oh. Yes. Now for me, I remember Shawn Mendes. I remember when he first came on the scene because I remember Disney Channel used to do this thing called The Next Big Thing, where it would kind of be like their version of a little version of American Idol, where they're looking for talent. You know, and I remember in the early 2010s, he came up off that song Stitches, which is I think the only Shawn Mendes song that I listened to. I think it's either that. I think it's that and it's Senorita. It's Senorita. I listened to it against my will, but it was good. I can't even lie.
They were in their bag with that one.
So, yeah. But Shawn Mendes, he just has never really been my tea musically. However, he is a pop culture figure, and the biggest sort of thing with him is that, oh, he's a gay, he's a sister, he's not, you know, whatever. Like, that's kind of been the running joke. His sexuality has been a point of speculation for as long as he's been on the in the industry. I think part of that is, you know, because of his nice guy persona, like, you know, strumming your guitar and, you know, having a soft voice and like being really talented, number one, but also not hyper masculine. I think that, you know, for guys who are kind of losers, for lack of a better term, they kind of see that and they're like, oh, like, you're talented and you are popular but you're nice to women and like whatever. And like, I can't do that because I'm not talented and I don't have this or that, and you know, but you have all of these girls that want you or whatever, or you have all these people that want you, and you have these qualities that are, you know, deemed to be not good. So things like being effeminate and soft and nice or whatever, like, so you're gay, and that's just what it is. I think that's where that originally came from, and he's kind of admitted to struggling with that for a while. I mean, I've heard so many stories about him telling people that he struggled with his sexuality or whatever, but it's just kind of been a running joke. Even when he was with Camila Cabello, like, it was like, okay, so
she loves her twins, like, you know? You're a beard, essentially.
Like, you know, and I used to be of the opinion, again, I guess in a way I still am, of the opinion of, listen, let that man alone. Let him be himself. I think that, you know, it is, as someone who experienced that kind of queer bullying growing up, I don't wish it on anybody, even especially straight people. Not that anybody should go through it, but like, at least I could be like, you know, at least I actually got to be gay. But like, he's, according to him, he's like, I'm not gay and I'm being bullied for it, and it's like, you know. So, but as time has gone on, it's giving that maybe there might be a little bit more to that, but I think that's less of a him going out of his way to put that out there, because he's always like, that's always been something that's made him uncomfortable, that he has not liked, that he has not been, you know, it's like his questioning his sexuality, that's always been upsetting to him. So I don't think that he's like using that to like make money off of that. You know, he's not leaning into it. He doesn't necessarily like that. Now, in my personal opinion of what I think about his sexuality, that doesn't really matter. But we're just talking about how he is perceived. And I think Shawn Mendes is an example of what queerbaiting isn't. People just thinking you're gay and like you not engaging with that. Like, I just think that's a person trying to live their life.
That actually makes a lot of sense. It really does. I think Shawn is very interesting in the fact that he was always surrounded by masculine men, right? You think about his rise during the YouTube era where he was with this group. It was these very, very frat guys, for lack of a better description. And he was like the odd one out, you know, soft-spoken. He sat with his legs crossed. He was the only one with a beautiful voice who was singing. So it was like, you are really not matching up to the hyper masculinity of this group, so you must be gay. And you think about older YouTube groups. I don't know if you're very familiar with Connor Franta. He was also part of, right? Okay, so
I
good.
am familiar
so
with
Connor
Connor
Franta was
Franta,
also part of
yeah.
like a YouTube like boy sort of group, right? And he, yes,
It was like a boys YouTube. It was D. Was it?
It was
D
something with a
squared?
number.
It was something with a number. It was
That's
it
not
was a letter
relevant
and a
today,
number.
girl. You know, they were doing
Some
something.
disco, some like that.
Yeah,
I know. Yeah, I was never like into the I was never like into the group channel. I was always kind of just there for Connor, even pre coming out. So that I don't know much about
think Connor
that
Franta
era.
sort of like contributes to like Shawn's image in a way, because you look at Connor's journey and how he went from being sort of like the odd one out in that group, and people were singling him out as like, oh, like he's so different from the other guys. And him later coming out, I think people expected the same from Shawn. It's like, oh, it's only a matter of time since he also comes out, you know, so we must just wait it. And I think him not giving people what they want, or him not living up to the expectations, it became a lot more frustrating for the general audience, because he looks like he should fit a certain box, but he's not playing that part. So where do we place him, you know? And I think that is what added on to the whole queerbaiting situation around him. Like, he's definitely playing into it, which he's not, because he's complained about it so many times. So many times.
So many times.
You know?
It's like I think somebody once said that like a celebrity was like, oh yeah, he's like his biggest fear is that maybe he's gay. And I'm like, so it's like, you know, I don't, because this is the thing. This is the thing. Earlier I did say that my personal speculation about his sexuality doesn't matter.
It's
and
fair.
it doesn't. But I will say, if I had to guess, if I had to make an assumption and guess, not knowing him, I would say maybe he is a bisexual person, or he is someone who's into multiple genders, and that is okay. However, to society and like people's image, that's still kind of not okay, especially if you're somebody who still wants to have proximity with women romantically.
Ooh, yes.
Because he's already fighting these sister allegations, and then to be like, oh, well, I do kind of like men. Like, there's someone who has dillied and dallied with both. That's definitely like a barrier that bisexual men and pansexual men have to navigate constantly. It's like, oh, but I still want to be women, or I still, you know, are like, a lot of times these men will prefer women, and like, yeah, I like men, but like, you know, they're still men, like not like that, you know, so like I still want to be, but like that's not an option. So it's like, why would I ruin my chances to like actually have what I want in life over something that really doesn't mean that
That's
much
really
to
interesting.
me?
Yeah. I mean, we could definitely use that angle. And I think when it comes to like his relationships, because he's been sort of like the playboy, right? I think he has used that to sort of overshadow the he must be gay allegations. Because he's dated a lot, like Sabrina Carpenter, Camila Cabello, and a few other girls. He's had very public relationships to kind of steer the conversation away from he must be gay. But when these women discuss their time in a relationship with him, it's not helping, you know, because it's like he's pretentious. You know, things like,
what are they
pretentious.
describing?
You know, like, he quotes poetry all the time. He tries to be like this player boy, but it doesn't necessarily read as that. You listen to Camila's songs about him, you listen to Sabrina's songs about him, and you're like, this is somebody who hasn't done much self-reflection. You know, that's what it comes across to them. And then you look at how he spoke about, basically, he's not necessarily coming out, but like he's just discovery and his journey with identity in the recent tour, where he spoke about how he's still discovering himself and he might like boys, he might not, he might like girls, he might not. It's like, this is an individual that comes across like they're afraid of really stepping into who they are because they might find something that they do not like, you know? So it doesn't really help that he's dating so much. It's like, what are we doing, sweetie? Are we dating because we actually like women?
But then what I would say to women like Sabrina, and like, no offense, Sabrina, I listen to your music a lot, so I know that you're a smart girl. You're a smart woman. Shawn, like all of that like pretentiousness that y'all are getting from Shawn, that's not fruitiness. He's white. Like, he is. He's white, and I think he's from California. I might be wrong, but it's giving white from California, and like that's just kind of what they do, and that's just kind of how the culture, his culture, how that act is. And then Hollywood, like it's white, pretentious Hollywood. And I think there are plenty of acts, especially actors, that are like that. I'm like,
you'll know
Sabrina
that.
girl, y'all
He's
know
probably
that.
half
Y'all
of the
know
Hollywood
that.
men that you'll run into.
Now y'all know that. You know, but I just think that he's on a journey, and you know, yeah. But I don't think it's ever been one of those things with him where it's like, oh, he's playing with you. And we'll get to some instances where it's like, oh no, girl, you're playing with us. You're playing with us, definitely. Who else is on our little list? Let's talk about Billie.
Really?
I'm not a Billie fan in terms of I don't listen to the music all the time.
Okay.
Like, I'm not a huge Billie Eilish fan. But that doesn't mean that me saying I'm not a fan.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean I
Like,
don't
check for
dislike
her.
Billie. Like, I like Billie, and I think she's a great singer. Yeah, I would check for Billie. You know, when she drops an album, even if I don't love the album, I'm gonna listen to it at least once. You know, so I like Billie, and I respect her talent and her artistry. Her mom is really cool. You know, love Billie. Billie is bisexual.
Is she
She's like, yeah,
bisexual?
girl, I'm bisexual, and you know.
Okay.
I think she
Okay,
said
that's
that, yes. I'm like 80.
That's very
I'm
interesting.
80% sure.
Yeah.
I'm 80% sure that she's bisexual. But yeah, I think that and she dresses like in a lot of baggy clothes or whatever. She has an aesthetic and she has a vibe. And I think that her having boyfriends and her being around men or dating men, it makes her think. It makes not her think, but it makes a lot of people be like, oh, you're queerbaiting, or like you're queerbaiting, or you're whatever. And that's another thing where it's like her sexuality is really not marketed. Like they don't it's not really marketed in her music. So when she puts out music videos and people are like, oh, she's queerbaiting, it's like, how, where is it? Is it just because you want her to live out a life that you would want her to have? Like, that's not, you know. And I think that's where a big majority of the real people can't queerbait argument comes from, because it's like people just need to live their lives and people need to have their own journeys, and people's lives are not for your public consumption to there is no bait here. This isn't entertainment. Like, this is her life. So I completely understand, you know, where the mindset of real people cannot queerbait comes from. However, as we will get through this, I do not agree with that, but yeah. But what do you think about
I love Billie. I
Billie?
think she's a phenomenal artist. I think her work with Phineas has been really amazing. I do listen to Phineas more than I do Billie, though. And that's solely based on my personal taste. But I think she is such an interesting figure, right, in pop culture, because she is one of the biggest Gen Z artists, right? She comes out at a time where we needed that, and she's very queer in her appearance. And I think that's where all of the allegations started. It started with that one music video where she spoke about liking girls. I think it was for, I forget the song, something, the Lost Cause song. She had a video and it was a bunch of girls, and she posted a picture on Instagram talking about I heart girls or something along those lines. And that's where everybody was like, oh, okay, yeah, this makes sense. You know, she dresses like this. So she must like girls. And she kind of, not to victim blame in this situation, but she kind of dug herself a hole in that one, right? Because I don't think there were many speculations around her sexuality. She was just this cool, dark, you know, goth girl that everybody liked. And when she said that, it kind of sparked something in the general public. And ever since then, it's been a shadow looming over her. So I think her coming out later on because it got too intense, right? Like everything she was doing, it was like, well, do you like girls? You know, are you lesbian? What are you? You know, tell us, let us know. So she had to come out. She just had to. If she just wanted to have people focus on just her music and not everything else surrounding her. I think that was the best thing for her career. Because now people don't care as much. It's like, oh, Billie, you know, she's who she is.
Like in the article I just sent you, it just said, I didn't realize people didn't know. I'm like, oh, okay.
Whatever that means.
Right.
Whatever that means.
Whatever that means, Billie girl. But yeah, I like Billie. I think people like Billie, people like Shawn. But I talk about Harry too. I think those people are like kind of the faces of the real people queerbait movement. And you know, stop talking about queerbaiting, blah blah blah. Like though when people talk about that, those are people they talk about.
Yeah.
They also talk about Kit Connor too, but yeah. Those are like the names that come up in the whole can the real people queerbait conversation. And so far on Shawn and Billie, I've been really chill. I've been really understanding.
But not Harry.
Really nice. Harry. I will not be doing that.
On the Harry train.
I will not be doing that because listen. But see, this is the thing. Harry, me and you, listen up, Harry darling. Listen up, Harry darling. Mm-hmm. Me and you, we don't have no beef. I don't have no beef with you. You a cool girl. You're a cool girl, Harry. I like you, whatever. I don't listen to your music like that. But, you know, generally, I like you, you know. But, however, my issue with you is this. I don't think that because you wear quote-unquote women's clothes, that means that you should be automatically assumed as gay. I don't think that by itself is queerbaiting. I think people should be allowed to wear what they want to wear. I think especially for men, for cishet straight men, to make the fashion choices that he makes. I think that's good for everyone, because if they can do it, then we can. Like if straight men are doing it, then it's not going to be crazy when gay men are doing it, you know. So I think that on its face is, you know, really great. It's really cool. It's really awesome. I just also feel like don't overstep your boundary. Don't like. Well, actually, I'm getting ahead of myself. But sticking on the clothes for a second.
I get what you're saying.
I just think it's so annoying that he gets praise and adoration for breaking down barriers when those barriers have been broken by Black, queer, femme people in the past. Like that, and that's what Billy Porter was saying. Like, I've been walking down the red carpet in heels and a dress for decades, and you know, Harry Styles is doing it. He's on the cover of Variety. Like, what does that say? Like, what does that say?
He's on the cover of Vogue. Front
you know,
page.
But right, and it's like, in terms of his sexuality and the speculation, I think a good chunk of that is like One Direction delusion, because you know they ship all of the boys. But then I think another part of that is like, you know, similar to that Shawn Mendes thing of like the softness, the femininity of it, the talent of it all, and those are being things that people are jealous of, so they come up with these concoctions. But I also think that sometimes in the music, or sometimes in things, like he's very, very vague, very, very vague about it, and very vague, and like I don't owe anybody any explanation sort of thing, you know, which you don't, but at the same time, then stop talking about it.
Right. I think
like that we could just not talk. We could just not talk about it.
right. That makes a lot of sense. But I think where Harry differs from Shawn, from Billie, from any other figure, it all boils down to language, right? When it comes to Shawn, he would say, I'm not gay.
Yes.
Like explicitly. Like, I'm not gay. I just grew up around a lot of women, so I picked up a lot of their mannerisms, and that is just who I am. I like girls. You know, he would say that for a long time. With Billie, it was also like, it's just clothes, bro. Like, I like what I like. And then after she came out, it's like, well, I didn't know people didn't know. With Harry, he's been asked this question for the majority of his career. And we're talking a really, really long career, right? He's had a really successful career. And he deliberately uses words like, oh, I don't like labels, you know? I am who I am. So it kind of leaves people in this loop, because if there's one thing about our society is we love definitive answers. We love to get straight to the point. Are you gay or not? Okay. If you're neither, are you bi? Are you pan? You know, what is it? If you're gonna say, I don't like labels, you're not necessarily saying I'm unlabeled, because that's a label in itself, and I think people will accept that. But you saying I don't like labels leaves people in the gray area. Yes, it is none of our business. I think we've established that many times already. But also, we're consumers of your music, of your art, whatever you're putting out there, and you're being awarded all of these things that should be going to queer icons, you know? So I feel like we need a little bit of clarity there, because if we're gonna allow you into our space and celebrate you when you get awarded these things that should be going to a Billy Porter, a Troye Sivan, a Sam Smith, a Lil Nas X, we need to know that you're fully with us. And when it gets really rough, that you will be standing with us in the front lines. You'll be speaking on our issues. You'll be fighting for us. And I think that's why there's a huge disconnect when it comes to Harry Styles, and he gets majority of the backlash, because people are tired of seeing straight people come in and get rewarded for things that we live, things that are our truth. I could get killed for being in a dress, but you just wear it for a magazine shoot and you take it off. What does that mean to you? You know, what are you representing? What are you saying? What is your whole stance on this entire issue? So yeah, I fully respect the disconnect when it comes to Harry Styles, and I think he has a long way to go. He has a long way to go.
Not only that, I remember him doing like a gay film. I think it was My Policeman, and I think he was talking about one of the love scenes and how tasteful it was, and how, you know, queer people, like, we need more of this. The community needs more of this. Like, respectfully, don't tell me what the community needs if you're not in the community. Like, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it from you. I really don't. Even
it was
like,
also such a lazy answer, right? Because
when
all queer films are very tender
right,
with their sex
like,
scenes. Majority of the famous ones are very tender with their sex scenes. I mean, it's sex scenes for straight people. So for him to come and say that, it had me wondering, which gay films have you been watching, Harry, that are not so tender? Do let us know.
You know, I feel like most of the love scenes are in movies in general are tender. Like, are you talking about porn? Carrie, are you talking about porn? Are you talking about movies?
There's a difference.
Because in the movies I be watching, when the men who be on the men, it be romantic and it be tender. Shout out to Red, White, and War Blue. Like they was very tender. Now, maybe he was talking about Brokeback, because Brokeback, they was, I will give it, Heath Ledger and
Gyllenhaal? Jake Gyllenhaal?
Oh, I forget the other guy's name. Jake Gyllenhaal. Yeah, Heath and Jake, now they was tumbling. Now they was rolling down the mountain and tumbling. Like they were, like, I don't know if they was fighting the fucking, like, I couldn't tell. So maybe he was watching that and he was like, the gay community needs something soft and sweet. Maybe he was watching that, but you know, most of the other movies I be watching that are like not porn but movies, it's always like that. Yeah. So I don't know what you were talking about here. I don't know. Right. But
it feels like he's not it feels like he's not engaging with the community in a meaningful way, because you would know these kind of things, right? Out of like the popular gay films, and we're talking top 5, you have like Brokeback Mountain, you have Call Me By Your Name, you have Moonlight, you have, I don't know what other two I would list as like top 5 most famous. The scenes are very like, this is a love scene that is happening. And if you were engaging with the community in a meaningful way, you would know that, right? Even with Brokeback Mountain, we can make the argument that the first one was a little bit rough. But there was something tender in the fact that these were 2 men having sex with men for the first time. And although it was rough, they were allowing each other to experience that. That is such a tender way to look at things. So it just feels like he's not queer. You know, he doesn't have queer knowledge. And when you speak about also like who inspires him, he gives a basic answer when he talks about fashion, like David Bowie. Okay, who else, sweetie? We can all name a David Bowie, you know, when it comes to like men dressing however they want, but like, who else are you looking up to? Who's queer? Who's black? You know, what are your inspirations in those fields? So I think that's where it becomes a little bit rough, because it's like, you're really profiting off people that you don't even really care for.
Yes. Another example of somebody where I'm like, girl, this is tired. All right, this is gonna be controversial. This might get me jumped. Nicki Minaj.
Yes.
Nicki Minaj. Girl, I actually, at the time that this was all going on, I think I was too young to understand, because I was just like, you know,
yes,
you a stupid hoe. You a stupid hoe. So I was like,
we were babies.
Wasn't really paying attention
when that was going on.
We were children, you know. Yes,
we were
2001 over here, okay? Like, you know, what's going on? But yeah, so Nicki was bisexual. He was claimed to be bisexual, you know, and over the years she's been like, yeah, you know, that's really not a thing that was really going on. It was just a part of my career, and I just kind of said it to say it. And I'll link some articles where they talk about that in the description. But I think the most the funniest was, it's like the funniest, most blatant queerbaiting I've seen in a minute, where in the Stay So remix with her and Doja.
Used to be bi, but now I'm just hetero.
Yeah, she was like, used to be bi, but now I'm just hetero. And I was just like, what? No, actually, I think that verse only, that bar in the verse only comes second to shout out to my ass shots, them so cheeky. Now they trying to palm my ass like young Kiki. I'm like, okay,
phenomenal,
great rapper, but she was just like, I'm gonna admit that I'm queerbaiting in the song. And I was just like, that's interesting. That is really, really interesting, because we don't talk about the girls doing it as much as the guys. Because I think for girls it's like, oh, well, this is like girls. Because this is what I say about this. Okay, let me break this down. This is what I always say about homophobia towards women versus homophobia towards men. Homophobia towards men is ill. You're disgusting. You're gross. You have AIDS. I'm gonna beat you up. I'm gonna burn you. I'm gonna kill you. I'm gonna do all of these things. I'm violence, because you're a man and you're gay, and that's scary. But women, you know, not to say that violence doesn't happen to queer women, because it definitely does, but the reactions to women typically is indifference or dismissal, and that comes with a whole other host of issues, like not being validated, not being taken seriously. So I say this all the time. Our society really, really worships and pedestalizes dick, penis. So, you know, if you are a man and you know, have experimented or had a thought about a man, whatever, you're gay and there's nothing you can do about it, that you can't escape it. It doesn't matter if you call a cousin. It doesn't matter if you get your local congressman to write you a pardon. You are going to be forever branded as a gay person, and there's like a scarlet letter on you. However, if you are a woman and you say that you like women, Oh, no. That, it's just a phase. It's not a thing. Oh, yeah, girls all do it sometimes. I had a phase like that in college. And, maybe you just haven't met the right man yet, maybe you need some dick to change you. I hear lesbians say that all the time where men will be like, this dick will change you. Like, I'll change you. And it's just invalidating their sexuality of being attracted to
huge on invalidating.
Women.
Huge, because I don't think society takes women seriously, and that's the problem. So when a woman says, "Oh, I like other girls," it feels like, oh, like what a ditzy thing to say. You probably had one bad experience with a boy, and that happens throughout all cultures. But when it comes to the violence, I think it depends on the culture. I'm lucky to be exposed to like two cultures, like two separate countries, right? When it comes to the US, I think it's more like, okay, yeah, you haven't found the right guy yet, or, oh, it's fun, experiment. I also think because US culture fetishizes women on woman relationships a lot, right? But when it comes to like South Africa, it's different. Like women actually, like lesbians get killed here. And it's crazy to me, right? Like there's been a
really?
lot of times where I would go to South Africa and it's like lesbian murder, especially in like very cultural places, where it's not so urbanized or so Western. It's like, how dare you as a woman lie with another woman when you should be with a man, because men deserve you. Men should have the right to your body. So you denying men that gets you killed. And they get killed more than gay men in South Africa, which is crazy. Because it's just so easy to murder a woman. And when it comes to a country like South Africa, it's really hard to find justice for those kinds of cases. So women get murdered and there's no really like much done. In contrast to like a gay man getting murdered, then people will be in the streets rioting. So I think there's a difference. I think when it comes to culture, if they had fetishized lesbian relationships, I think they would be experiencing the same sort of like non-violent homophobia as in Western countries. So it differs.
Yeah, that's actually a really unique and interesting perspective.
Right. I don't think we think about that a lot. But I also think society cares about the men. You put it very well. Like we love our penises, right? So if you are a man choosing to lie with another man, it's how dare you reject privilege? You're a man. You can get any woman you want and you choose to love another man. How diabolical. But as a woman, it's like, oh, okay. It's cool. It's fun. It's sexy. We love it. It's hot. Do more of it.
And because of that, Nicki Minaj could be like, oh, I'm
so into it.
And people were into it. And that worked. And it worked. And when she was not up and coming anymore and she didn't need it,
yeah,
used to be bi, but
I
now
also think she was sexualized a lot. Like Nicki Minaj, Menage a Trois. That's a threesome. So I think
like,
the male audience of hip hop, it was like, oh, if she's bisexual and I get a chance with her, we can even hook up with another girl in between. That'd be so hot. It's given 2 for 1. So I think that helped a lot. That helped a lot. That whole I'm bisexual thing, it just made her 10 times hotter because we love bi women. I don't think we love bi men as much as a society, but bi women, oh my god, by all means, please do it.
Speaking of bi women, we got our Nicki Minaj's, quote unquote. We also have our Cardi
Megan Thee Stallion.
We have our alleged Megan Thee Stallion. And,
Lady Gaga too. We have her there.
Huh? Lady Gaga, yes, Lady Gaga. And I think all of this is a mixed bag because on one hand, women like Cardi and Nicki and Megan, they in the public eye, at least in the public eye, they are very male-centered. They date men publicly, privately. They sing and rap about sex with men. And yeah, that's just sort of like their persona. So I think it throws people off to hear like, oh, but I'm bisexual. And to Cardi's point, she's like, well, what do you want me to do? Eat a coochie on live? And it's like, well, no. And like, you don't owe anybody that, and you should be able to say I'm bisexual and like nobody question it. And like, it is okay to have preferences. It's okay to be like, listen, I'm bisexual, but I like men more. I'm bisexual and I like women more. Or, you know, like, I like men under only certain circumstances, or I like women only under certain circumstances, so I'm still bisexual. So I think all of that is valid. I just think that we also have to think about how these women move through the world. When you look at someone like a Saucy Santana, when you look at someone like a Saucy Santana, a queer rap girly person, Saucy Santana is not a rapper. He's not the big rapper. He's not the dark skinned rapper. He's the gay rapper. And like, that's his identity. And like, whether mind you, whether he wants that to be or not, that is his label, and that's how he's seen in the world. That's how he's treated when he walks into the room. You know, a lot of black people will be like, oh, I'm black first because my blackness is the first thing you see when you walk in the room. Saucy, it's that fruitiness. That's the first thing. You can smell the fruitiness before you even walk.
You can smell it from across the street.
Actually, you can baby. You can.
Who is that fruit roll out?
Smell the fruity scent. Okay, so. Exactly. So, and that's not really something that can be escaped. So when you compare and contrast that with somebody like a Cardi B or a Megan Thee Stallion, the world sees them as straight, and they portray themselves as straight. They market themselves as straight, you know, and right. And again, that's not a terrible thing. It doesn't mean they're a bad person. It doesn't. I wouldn't even say that like Cardi and Megan use that to specifically queerbait y'all all the time. They do it sometimes, like that girl on girl shit in WAP, and them dancing in the water. Like, we know what y'all doing. You know, same thing with that Hot Girls music video. Same thing with I remember the Ariana Grande song "Break Up with Your Girlfriend Because I'm Bored," and then the twist at the end of the video is that break up with your girlfriend because I want your girlfriend.
It's not playing in our face. We know you don't swing it that way, girl.
Don't start some you can't finish.
I think it's fun, you know, when they do it for them. You know, it comes without a lot of consequence, and it's celebrated. You know, we cheer it on. It's fun. It's sexy. And when they don't present visibly queer, like you look at a Cardi and a Megan, they're very feminine women. You know, like there's nothing queer about their appearance. They can walk across the street and people will take them as this is a straight woman. And yeah, of course, there are bisexual women that look like that. Of course, there are lesbian women that are very femme. But when you constantly toss this label around, like, oh, I'm bisexual, but you don't, how do I put this? You're nowhere to be found when it comes to real queer conversations, you know? So it's like, that's where audiences start to like form a little bit of a wall with you to say, okay, you claim this label when it's fun, when it's convenient for you to do so, but you never actually show up when it matters, especially as a public figure. If they were regular, ordinary people, I don't think we would care, but because they're public figures, your voice matters when it comes to queer issues. Use it, you know? Use it once in a while. I've never heard Cardi speak about gay rights unless she's performing.
Well, that's because Cardi's too busy calling,
you know? She uses the T slur like crazy, but you know, where are you right now?
Like, that's because Cardi's too busy.
Right? Like, where are you right now when we're talking about protecting the dolls? Why are you not speaking up on that? You love the slur, but do you love the dolls as much as you love the slur? That's the question. And when...
Queer woman, I need to say this or this or that. It's not, because at a certain point, that's not how you see yourself either. It's like, you know, yeah. And again, I know the comments are gonna be like, oh, well, who are you to say what they are, and who are you to invalidate, and da-da-da-da. I'm nobody to do any of that. But what I can do is tell you how you show up in the world. What I can tell you is tell you how the world receives you, and how you use that to navigate the world. So I don't think that, you know, Cardi and Megan have queerbaited in the way that Nicki Minaj has. But, however, the only reason why we know that Nicki Minaj did that is because she said it. She said, hey, this was just kind of a thing for me, but not anymore. But it's one of those things, queerbaiting is one of those things where you can't really, quote unquote, prove that until they say it. You know, all the examples that we have today, it's not because we did some investigation and we found some files. No, bitch, they just said in interviews years later, once it was no longer relevant, hey, yeah, you know, I said I was this, I really wasn't this. It was for my career, it was to make money, it was blah, 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 blah.
It was fun, but I wouldn't date a girl, you know? That's exactly what it is. Yeah.
You know?
And I think when it comes to, like, obviously, like, we're talking about how we expect them to speak up. It's not just them, you know? We're not just talking about Cardi and Megan. Yes, they're great examples, but it extends to everyone, even those who are visibly queer. I just want us to clarify that. Like a Saucy Santana. Like, I've never heard Saucy talk about queer rights, ever, you know? And we can argue the fact that Saucy's being visibly queer is activism within itself. Like, he is queer in a hip-hop space, which is a male-dominated genre where masculinity matters, where it's all about, you know, like, very rough, I'm a man, and that is activism in itself, him not choosing to present that way. But it's also like, yeah, but that's not enough, you know? We still need you to, like, act up, you know, when it matters, and we expect it from everyone. So just to make it clear, you know, we don't want to get labeled anything that we're not, but yeah.
Yeah, so Lady Gaga is a different beast to me, because I think Lady Gaga is one of those people who, well, again, I think Lady Gaga personally, and this is me speculating about her life and not having any evidence to back it up, but I think that Lady Gaga is a person who, at the end of the day, you know, a little girl on girl is fun, but at the end of the day, I'm going home with a man, and I'm bringing a man home, and like, that's what it is. But, however, I think that Lady Gaga is a fierce advocate for the queer community, for the trans community, and she always has been. And I think that her talking about how she's bisexual and that being overlooked for, you know, decades, I think is just another way about how we as a society overlook queer women. But then at the same time, she doesn't, just like Cardi, just like Megan, just like Nicki, she doesn't talk about her queer experience ever. So it's like, there's not really a window into us even seeing that. And, you know, again, for the millionth disclaimer, she don't owe us that. But if we're talking about, you know, you having this identity in a public space, it's like, your voice is not being heard. Your voice is not being heard.
I mean, I would love one sapphic Gaga song. Like, I would love it. You know, like a full chaperone moment from her. But she's also been, as you said, like a fierce advocate. Her and Madonna's not even a queer woman, but the work that they have done does not go unnoticed. And I think that's why, even though her queer identity may not be taken seriously, like when you think Gaga, you don't think bisexual woman, but you think this is an ally.
I'm not a gay woman. It's that, you know, touchy sort of subject, right? Where can you stand up for people that you are not necessarily fully part of that community in a way that you can understand what you all go through, right? But I have always been surrounded by incredibly intelligent, powerful gay men who have lifted me up through lots of changes in my life. Becoming famous was very strange, and it's the gay men in my life that helped me to become a woman. And I don't know that a lot of people would understand that, but it's because of what you've been through. You have survived so much that you inspire me to continue surviving. So thank you for that. You're welcome.
she has spoken up time and time again. She has showed up time and time again. Even at the beginning of her career when she was being called, you know, like, quote unquote, a transvestite. And she would say, so what? You know, what if I am? You know, what if I do have both parts? Why does that matter to you? She always knew which language to use to not demonize the community, to always put, like, make us feel like people, because she could have easily said, oh, hell no, like, I'm not that.
That rumor were that you had a male appendage, that you were a hermaphrodite, and you joked about it on the stage last night.
Maybe I do.
But it's interesting.
Would it be so terrible?
But it's interesting, a lot of artists would immediately put out some sort of statement saying this is absolutely not true. You have fun with it.
So why the hell am I going to waste my time and give a press release about whether or not I have a penis? My fans don't care, neither do I.
Don't you dare put that on me. But you using that makes it a whole taboo conversation. But her being nonchalant and saying, okay, so what if, you know? Why does that matter? Focus on the music. I'm a pop artist. That's all that should matter. My identity doesn't matter to you. That in itself is what makes her forever an icon in my books. Like, I feel like she deserves all the praise.
Yeah, she deserves everything. Everything that she's getting, she deserves. I think she's engaged again to a man. So
shout out to her. You know, I mean, if it's good, it's good.
Love that for her. You know,
and we got a fierce album out of that, so
yes,
I'm glad.
Yes. Yay! Shout out to Mayhem, all the Mayhem monsters. Yes. Yeah, but I just feel like all of those examples should just be reminders that we should make space for preference, and we should make space for people having different experience. And me talking about how the experiences of these different artists, queer or not queer, I feel like that the purpose of that is not to invalidate. I think the purpose of that is to broadcast how we show up in the world differently, and that different people have different needs and need to be supported in different ways.
Yeah.
You know, so that is that. Moving on. Let's talk about OnlyFans.
Right.
Let's talk about this. We'll come back to some of them deals women later. But let's talk about OnlyFans boys. So one reason why I feel like your video was so what's the word? I feel like one reason why your video was so well received is because there is a hunger to talk about these topics on this platform. I think that, you know, if you're on Twitter, you see it and you hear about all the content creator drama and shit, but like very few people actually like get on the YouTubes and actually talk about it and break it down, because it's like, you know, it's the adult world, so that really shouldn't cross over with the YouTube space. Sometimes it's harder to talk about, you know, that and be monetized on YouTube. So I get why that's not really on YouTube as much, but you know, there was definitely like oh, you're talking about Timothy Champagne, like finally somebody's talking about this man.
It. Yeah.
Finally, you know. But yeah, aside from Nico Aesthetics, I don't know anybody else who's talking about it.
Exactly.
So, I think that was really something that we needed for the culture. So shout out to you for that.
Thank you.
So were you actually nervous to like get into that?
Not really. I mean, I've never actually said this, but I love when we have conversations about like taboo topics, you know, like we're not really supposed to talk about the adult entertainment industry, especially as like queer individuals, because sex is something that is so shameful, you know, like we're taught that sex in itself is shameful, but gay sex, oh my God, stay away from that, you know? So I'm huge on creators that create space for those conversations to happen. Like you mentioned, Nico Aesthetics is somebody that I really root for and I check from time to time, because his whole page is about discussions on the adult entertainment industry and what that means, and how, you know, these entertainers can become really good contributors to the community and not just use the community. And he really cares about that kind of stuff. So I wanted to basically foster a space to allow, you know, gay men who consume this content to really just speak their truth, because we can't have those conversations in Timothy Champagne's comment section because his fans are there, you know, they're ready to defend him at the jump. So let's take it away from that and let's create a proper space for us to sit down and really get into the tea. And that was my aim with the video.
So we have now moved away from queer baiting, and we're more in the realm of gay for pay.
Right.
Gay for pay.
Same
yes.
universe.
And
Yeah.
Same universe. Like, they're cousins, they're sisters. I think that gay for pay is more self-explanatory. You know, you do gay things for payment. And I think that's something that it takes a lot of straight people. It's really hard for them to wrap their heads or their minds around it, because I think they think that they can, a lot of people confuse sexual behavior with sexual identity. I think that, you know, it's crazy to think that, because you'll have, you know, everyone knows the story of like, a man has been with his wife for 20 years or 30 years or whatever, but like he leaves her for a man because he realizes he's gay or whatever. But the man was with her for decades and they were happy and they had children, which means they had sex. And, you know, because this man is now saying, oh, I'm a gay man, you know, his sexual behavior for the last 20, 30 years does not invalidate his sexuality. I think people look at sexuality like it's a glass door, and if I'm gay, I can't touch a glass door, and if I'm straight, you can't. Even if you're a straight guy, you definitely could never touch that glass door of being gay. Because if you were really a straight man, you know, you touching another dick would burn your hand off, because, you know, it's like
why
biblical
would you
or
do
something.
that? You know,
You know,
heterosexuality is so fragile.
it's like.
It's so fragile.
So it's like, it's not, so, even like with girls, like there's so many girls I know who are gay, and like, you know, they boyfriends do what they gotta do, and it's like, and the girl's like, girl, that did nothing for me. that did nothing for me. Or it did, but they have other shit going on. So, right. So, I just want to make that point for the people who are like, there's no way that gay for pay could be a thing if you mess with guys. Like, you're absolutely, like, there's something to you. There's something to you. And I just feel like that's not the case.
Money. I think people forget that money is a huge motivator for these types of things. People do crazy things for money all the time. So I don't think a man sleeping with another man or kissing another man for a paycheck is something that should totally invalidate his sexuality or his identity as a straight man. It's just a quick action for a quick buck, and that should be it.
Yeah, and I think it bothers so many men specifically because it's like, if there's no glass door for him, then there's no glass door for me. And I think so many guys would love to think like, I would never under any circumstance. And if there's a circumstance where a guy could like engage in behavior for money, I think that what does that say about me? What does that say about my sexuality and what I'm capable of as a human being?
Right. Okay, yeah, I love that.
So now that we have defended the right of these men to be gay for pay, let's drag them for being gay for pay. Let's do
that.
Let's drag them for being gay for pay. I'm gonna ease my way into it, because we're gonna talk about YouTubers first, because in the last 10 years, the YouTube to content creator pipeline has been strong and has been pumping them out for years, especially in like the gay spaces. For y'all who don't know, I am a child of the original gay YouTube scene. So back in like 2010, 11, 12, you know, the Davey Wavies, the Ariel Scarcellas before she lost her mind, you know, the Cat Blacks, you know, the Gay Gods, the Matthew Lushes, you know, the Elo Stephs, the Bria and Chrissy's, like, all that OG, you know, what was that? Will and RJ, all of those like OG gay LA YouTubers that would all like, you know, make content once a week and all collab together, and they was all for, it was like a little like gay YouTube LA universe. I am definitely a child of that. And, you know, growing up in middle school, and that's what I was seeing. Now today, 3 things have happened to those people. They have either A, stopped doing content, YouTube content, and fallen off the map into irrelevancy. B, they have lost their minds, gone off the deep end, gone on alt-right, you know, pipelines. Mm-hmm. Or C, which is the more popular option, they transitioned from YouTube to doing OnlyFans and porn.
They have done that.
Like, so many countries, like I think Davey Wavy actually owns like
a whole studio, girl. Like, he is like, a filmmaker.
A whole studio, like... I'm like, Davey!
I mean, it was always giving that. You know, I'm really proud of him. Like, it was going to get there at some point.
I'm like, shout out to him. I'm like, you were really living the dream. I remember, I think like once every like 6 to 12 business days, the that screenshot goes viral of him being like, dildo.
I literally just saw that today. That's always a
like,
meme.
Literally, it's always been a meme. So, yeah. Davey, porn star now. I think RJ from Will and RJ, porn star. Travis Bryant, I think
still
they
does.
Porn. I think like the Chris Stans and all of that, they do porn. But they also have YouTube channels and like all of that. You know, everybody is just, you know, leaving YouTube and going to the porn and opening, like, they're closing the cameras and opening their legs, okay? Like, that's just what it's been giving. So, all that to say, specifically, because I remember you mentioned in your video Mario and how Mario used to do videos with Travis Bryant, who, for y'all who don't know, was a YouTuber. And I remember when those videos were coming out, and like it was like they were doing sketch content of like him being straight, but like what if he wasn't straight, and like what if there was a possibility that he might be gay, and what if they might like do gay things together. And I just feel like as I was watching it, the content made me so upset, and I couldn't put my finger on why. I'm like, why does this upset me so much? And I think the conclusion I came to was like, you're just kind of playing in our face for what? Why? It's like, and I was like, thought about it. I was like, it's genuinely because they just want me to subscribe and watch him stand and do poses and like act badly. No offense, but
terribly.
Like act badly because I think he wanted to be an actor at some point. And it's just like, out of all the ways to get that, you're pretending to like this gay man and you know, Travis Bryant, not an ugly looking man at all, very attractive man,
handsome
but
man,
still a man.
Yeah?
So why especially it's so weird to me that a gay man was helping a straight guy pretend to be gay for clicks and views and content. And like, it wasn't like in the content, it wasn't funny content, it wasn't comedic content. It was just like, what if we kissed? Like, we're here shirtless. Like, what if something happened? And it's just like, okay. It's like all
why
right.
are you doing that?
But then what was more weird about it? I don't know if you remember, but I remember they would take little breaks, and then Travis would make videos about how like he is attracted to Mario, and that he is like brought that up to Mario, and Mario was just kind of like shrugging, like, I guess it sucks to suck. Literally, it sucks to suck, I guess. You know, let's make more gay per pay straightish content, I guess. And it's like, why are you... It's like you're torturing yourself for this gay for pay content emotionally. It was just a weird situation. And people were eating it up, and I just could not understand why.
I mean, I can understand why. I think for me, why I really loved their videos to begin with was it was relatable. You know, I've had the straight friend that will flirt with me. I've had the straight friend that will, you know, kind of I don't want to say bait me because that doesn't sound right when it's real and not in front of the camera, but that would be very flirtatious, very fluid, you know, and we would do stuff and I would think to myself, oh, this could potentially be something, you know, and when it did not translate into that hurt is why I gravitated towards Travis, because I was like, oh, I see myself in you, you know, so he was relatable in that sense. But I also admit that it was stupid for him to put himself through that constantly at that, but also it was profitable, you know, so what's a little mental break if it means I'm getting all of this YouTube money from it and this bromance calendar money from it, and I still get to keep this friendship, and maybe one day it will blossom into something. Maybe one day Mario will see me for me and not just a quick paycheck. So I guess I relate to Travis on that front, but I also admit that it was silly to let Mario use him for that, because that's what Mario was doing and continues to do. And it became very apparent, and I think that's where I started to form the disconnect when Jeff Casa, which was this third party guy that got roped into all of this. Then it was like, oh, it's no longer just Mario now. It's like two straight men that are using you for your gay audience and baiting these people into, oh, what if we were something? And I was really confused as to why he would allow that, you know, because it wasn't just about money anymore. It was affecting more than just that. It was affecting him as a person. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you where it's like, I think we all can relate to that, which is why it felt so stupid. It's like, you're breaking your own heart. You are. Why are you, like, you're breaking your own heart, and it was just weird to me. And like you saying that, like, you know, you've had straight friendships with you. I have too, and to me, that's not like a fond memory. To me, that's like trauma. That's emotional trauma. I think that's like, you're playing with someone's emotions and someone's heart, and I think that's really fucked up. I think that's one of those like things where it's like, damn, that's kind of low-key unforgivable. Because, you know, if I break my arm is gonna heal, but like these emotional and mental, you know, scars from that, like I think everyone has had like a friend who is like gay. Every gay guy's had a friend who was straight, and that like they had really had a good friendship and a real connection. And it's like, you know, when you like someone and you connect with someone, it's only, and you're attracted to them, it's only natural that those feelings would develop. But it's like they can't, because, and I think it hurts so much because it's like it doesn't not develop because, you know, you're not right for each other or anyone did anything wrong. It's just like, there's literally just a biological divide that is separating the two of you, and that hurts. That's rough, because it just feels like, shit, this is out of my control, and, you know, it feels like a bad turn of fate. And I think every queer person can really relate to that. So I just a lot, and I'm just like, Travis, girl, why are you doing
why
this?
Why are you doing that?
That's when I. Right, and that's when I kind of started to tune out of Travis, because Travis would also make those like kind of like maybe we will fuck, maybe we won't fuck videos with Jack Miradew.
Right,
and I like Jack Miradew. I still follow him.
I saw he's back now, and that's very interesting. Yeah.
Yes, and I like them together, and I like their dynamic, and I like their kind of like fake boyfriend skit. I thought that was funny.
Everything to me.
So it bothered me when they had their own channel too. So it bothered me like when they stopped doing content and then he started doing more content with the straight guys. Right. I was like, girl,
what are you doing?
You could be doing like something really cool with another gay person, but instead you're like, oh no, I want pockets in straight people's pockets.
Right.
I want money in straight people's pockets. And it's like,
he saw one fetish and he was like, oh, I'm gonna milk this. And he's been milking it, and it's been working. I mean, the comments are still filled with gay men still wishing they were together. So it definitely works. And I think for Mario, it becomes a little bit more icky when you look at his content now, because Travis is nowhere to be seen, anymore. He's pursuing comedy. Whether it's good or not,
comedy.
I mean, he was never a funny individual to me, so I think that venture is going well for him. I do not know. But he's pursuing comedy, stand-up comedy, which good luck to him. But Travis is nowhere to be seen, and he's speaking about things like, I can see why both sides would be good in terms of like politics, and it's like, okay. So
but I told you one of the options was I'm gonna spiral down the right pipeline. that was one of the options, girl. It's either you fade into obscurity, you go down a right wing conspiracy pipeline, or you do porn. That's what's gonna happen to the 2010 YouTuber gay girlies. That's
even
what's happening
like
to them.
with their like porn content. I don't think they've had sex. I don't think Mario and Travis have had sex. I don't think they've sold anything of that.
I don't. I just think they were doing it on the cameras, and then the camera would cut, and he would be like, "Yeah, I have a girlfriend."
Right.
Blah, blah, blah. And Travis would be like crying and playing his little like Mr. Krabs, and then he is violin.
And they would rinse and repeat and do that all over again. But with Mario, it's like it was very apparent. It was not. I actually care about Travis. I mean, they were friends, so there's probably some care there, but it's never I actually care about like this community that I've built by being in this will they not relationship with this person. It was just like, this is a quick paycheck for me, and it works, and it sustains my career and my travels, and now I get to be a stand-up comedian, and I don't get to mention gay people anymore unless they're in a joke, whether it's good or bad. And I can say things like, I believe that Trump's administration has good parts to it, or like liberals also have their bad side, which true, that's fair. But when you stand in neutrality, where one part wants to completely eradicate queer people and the other part is welcoming, you can't be the other side needs to be heard too. That doesn't work that way. So you don't even care about the people that you're making money from, so it comes very, very disingenuous.
Wow, so Mario really doing stand-up comedy. Wow.
He's definitely standing up.
That blew my mind, because I'm just like, I'm gonna be nice. I'm a nice person. So let me hush.
I mean, you don't have to be.
I mean, what? You're right. It is my channel. It is my channel. I don't have to be nice.
Right.
Mario is stiff as a board, and not in a good way. Oh my God, he has no charisma at all. Like, whenever he would be with Travis, I'm just like, why is Travis talking to me as a cardboard? Like, no shade to him, but Mario just doesn't really have the personality to be a stand-up comic to me. But maybe I haven't seen him in a couple years, so maybe he's better.
To a lot of us, actually. It's like, you're something to look at. You're a very beautiful man, and I think that's enough. And I don't think a lot of us were paying attention to anything he was saying, because his abs were always out,
At all.
So it's like, okay.
But even still, like, I don't think I would even give him that. Oh, you're nice to look. I don't even think I would give him that. I don't.
Okay.
I don't.
Oh, this is tea. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Travis, good luck with that. Travis could never really pick no man like that. Anywho, like, Travis's man was always
ended in disaster, girl.
I need to move. Yeah. I need to move on. So now let's talk about the OnlyFans voice for this time. So let's go at this conversation from this vantage point, because now we're talking about us as consumers of the adult content. Well, actually, let me not assume. Do you watch adult content recreationally?
Recreationally, yes. I will tune in.
Okay. Okay. I do as well. And so that means that as consumers, we have things we like. We have things we don't like. So before I move into this conversation, I just have to know, do you have a problem with gay for pay content creators? Is that...
I do.
Like... Like if you're scrolling down Twitter or whatever you use, and you see, oh, that's that straight guy, are you gonna like go to something else, or are you gonna watch?
This is a whole different interesting conversation that we're having right now. I used to be like a passive consumer, you know, like whatever was on the nearest site, whatever was on my Twitter feed, I would consume like brainlessly. Like it was, oh, this is so fun to look at. But now I'm very particular on like what I like, who I like to see, and I'm very conscious of who I choose to support, right? Because I think it's a really exploitative industry. And just like YouTube, I wouldn't like my videos being distributed to other sites for free and not seeing the returns on that, you know? I would love to be compensated for the work I do. So it's no longer any guy that comes up I will consume. But when it was that, I still did not like straight men doing gay porn. Like, it was just so stiff to me. It seemed like they were not interested. There was no tension. And some guys get off that, you know, they just want to see people pounding away on camera and that's enough. For me, I love intimacy. Like, I want to see that portrayed. I want to see you enjoy what you're doing. And I don't really get that from straight creators at all. So I'm not a fan. How about you?
Like, I hear what you're saying. However, I don't really use the websites as much anymore because I live in Texas. In Texas, a lot of the websites are banned, and like you need to be age verified to like get into it. And it's like, girl, I ain't got time for that. So I use Twitter mostly. There's some websites that I could use, but mostly I use like Twitter and social media. And I think that is a blessing, and I think that's something that I really appreciate that came out of the pandemic, is that more people started making content and putting it on social media.
There was a boom during that time.
So I appreciate that. However, when I'm scrolling down the timeline and I see some nigga getting clapped, I don't know they're straight. How do you know? How do you know they're straight? I don't know. Unless it's somebody infamous, like an infamous person, like a James Angel or a Timothy Champagne or a light skinned Zay or whoever. Like, unless it's like somebody infamous like that, a lot of times it's just like new people I've never seen before doing, in the words of Nico Aesthetics, super happy adult fun time. So it's like, I can't really tell. And a lot of times, a lot of these accounts, they will just repost other people's stuff and create whatever kind of caption they want. So it'll be like, oh, my homie came over to smoke. We ended up like this. That's not that creator making a post. It's like a generic account posting other people's content for mass consumption.
It takes a lot.
So it's like...
And a lot of us don't want to do that. We just want to get our head and move on. So I understand that.
Yeah, it's like, you know, it's like, oh, you fine. I'm going to do what I got to do, and then I got to move on.
You do your thing, baby.
Right, I got to move on. You do your thing, I got to move on. So now when I see somebody and I'm like, I don't like someone's infamous, and I'm like, ooh, I don't like how you move. I don't like your practices. I'm gonna move on to something else. I'm gonna move on to something else. But for the most part, I can't really police who's straight and who's not. And even like with the straight videos, on principle, I'm not against the idea. I'm not against the idea of, if you're willing to do it, if you're willing to, you know, fuck this man on camera, if you're willing to do it, sure, I'll watch you on Twitter. Sure, yeah, why not? Especially if you're good looking, of course. My problem comes in when there's not commitment to the art and people are lazy. And I don't like that. I feel like Kim Kardashian, get your fucking ass up, literally, and work.
Nobody wants to work these days.
So a lot Nobody wants to work these days. So a lot of times intercourse will be faked. It'll be stale. They'll just not really be into it, not really give a good performance. Like they just like they just act like they've never seen this equipment before because they haven't. And I typically don't like that. I typically like somebody in real life and on the internet who knows what they're doing. And if you look like you know what you're doing, I'm gonna tend to follow you. I'm gonna tend to retweet you. I'm gonna tend to be more interested in your content. If not, I'm probably gonna push it to the side. Now, the people who are able to fool me, the people who are able to really commit to it and give me the full performance,
kudos
I will
to them.
Subscribe to you. But people who fake intercourse, people who fake climaxes, I've seen people fake climaxes with a little Greek yogurt.
Oh my god.
What
is on your FYP? I'm interested. Oh my god.
Sure, I might have to hook you up one day. Yes. So people be faking. People be faking bad, and it's like I feel like you should not be allowed to make money off something that our community does so freely and openly with purpose. Like, I also feel like in terms of subscribing to people, personally, I don't. This is gonna sound so terrible. I don't believe in subscribing to OnlyFans. I feel like the idea is kind of, for me, the idea is kind of dumb, because why would I pay $10 a month to see somebody naked when I have the internet? I can see pretty much anybody naked when I want to see naked. I need to pay $10 a month for that. The internet is free. Twitter is free. Even for this shit where it's like, oh, it's hour-long videos. I'm sorry. Nobody's sitting there for an hour.
Nobody needs that hour.
By themselves.
No one needs that hour.
Nobody's
30-second clips, that's enough, baby.
Nobody's doing that. That's enough, baby. Like 5 or 6 30-second clips, you good. It's time to go to work now. Like, I don't need hours and hours and hours. But I get the appeal. I do get the appeal, and I do get why some people buy, because it's like, imagine like the hot guy that goes to your gym. Imagine your school crush. Imagine the guy that you work with that you don't know is looking at you, but is sometimes looking at you. Like, I think the original appeal of OnlyFans was like the average everyday person was sharing their private videos with you, and it felt personal, and they would send you messages, and like, you could tip. Like, I think that was the original idea of, sex work OnlyFans. But I feel like, the industry people were like, hey, why y'all running in that website? We need to run in that website. So the professional industry people have just kind of taken it over, and I'm like, damn.
It's sad that these average no-name
we used to be a
people,
proper country.
Yes. I think also, like, it's become, people have been paying for this kind of content for years, right? Like, studios had magazines that they were selling. That was a form of payment. And then they started having websites, and people would subscribe to specific websites. Like, I know man.com had a $1 subscription at some point. I know Falcon continues to have subscriptions. So OnlyFans is just like a new way to do that, but it's giving directly. And I think it creates a proper incentive for subscribers, because they do pay to see the kind of content that they want to see. They can request it and all of that. I don't believe in paying monthly. I think that's kind of absurd. I also think it becomes weird, Like, you want to see this person naked so badly, and you want to tell them what to do, that you're literally opening your wallet to do that. It's a little bit sad, so I understand you on that part. But also, if you just love the content creator and you really want to make sure that they continue doing what they do, give that $7. $16 OnlyFans, that's where I draw the line. Anything above $10 is insane. Okay?
But see, that's the thing. It'll be that much money. And then, and Nico talks about this all the time, the lazy performers, the stunts, the props, the yogurt, the faking of intercourse. It's like, or my least favorite genre of like wimpy ass skate for pay is like people like Light Skin Zay, people like James Angel, people like Derek Thugger, where they just are in their birthday suits, oiled up, and they're just standing next to each other. Oh, look at us. We're standing next to each
so
other.
Erotic,
We just bump hips.
Yeah.
Oh, look at us. And like when I see that content, all I can do
that
is really
a big problem.
It's like I don't know. It's like if this was a Family Guy sketch, it'd be like a guy standing right next to a bear trap, and he's standing on the other side of the bear trap, and he's like, "Look at me, I'm gay and I'm hot and hunky. Look at me." And then like the stupid gullible gay walks into the bear trap and just dies. I'm like, it's really, I don't know. It's just, to me, it's comical how they're able to like barely shake their ass, not even in rhythm, and they get so much money. Because I think, okay, this, honestly, I think this is the raunchiest episode of Backs of Movies I've ever done. So clutch your pearls for what I'm about to say. But I think those specific creators got rose to prominence for doing salad tossing content, where they would get their salad tossed by women, and that's like a whole demographic and a whole thing. And I think that kind of content in the industry is kind of a gateway drug to like doing gay things, and like, well, now you're putting things there, let's put other things there, and things that are attached to other people there. And you know, I think for people like James Angel and Eric Thugger and all that, that is more of a boundary, that is more of a hard line, that is more of a thing that they are not willing to really do, because it's like, you know, it's hard to like get it up for that sort of thing. So they tend to not ever really do that, you know, but they'll stand up next to each other oiled up, and like maybe we will, maybe we won't, or like they'll let like a man touch them or something, or like, you know, but it's just giving like they're not into it, they don't want to be there, and they're doing the bare minimum, which is not hot, which is not sexy. It's giving, it's like, and on a personal, and this isn't an art level, on a personal level, these men, these gay men, these content creators are like, well, they're hot and I want to kind of hook up with them, so we'll do this thing, we'll do this, and we'll do that. And it's like, but that content isn't good. That content is not good. To me, it's not good. It's lazy, and I think that I'm at a point in my life where I'm used to hot people. I'm used to like being around attractive people. I'm used to sleeping with attractive people. So like the fantasy of somebody attractive shaking their ass at me, or someone attractive wanting to sleep with someone, or see someone attractive naked, this isn't my first rodeo.
It doesn't work like that anymore.
This isn't my first rodeo. Like it takes more than somebody being fine for me to be like, oh, applause, you know. I love that how in 2025, you know, we used to critique art and wine and food, and now we're critiquing adult content.
Right. I mean, it's still art, you know, it's art that we consume, and we are very passionate about it, because we wouldn't be complaining, right?
Yes.
So even if it's like passive consumption and we're just doing it to get off for those few 30 seconds or more, thank God. But it's like, we want quality. We want to see proper production. I want to see that you're enjoying it.
We see proper production. We want to see. It's the same thing with the actors. With actors, I say, listen, I don't mind if you're a straight actor playing a gay role, if you're really gonna commit to the role.
Really give it to me, yes.
You know, do the thing. But so same thing with gay porn creators, like with gay for paid creators. It's like, if you're gonna actually do the thing and do it and enjoy it, then cool. But if not, I don't want to see it. And I think that for a lot of guys, there's just a barrier. There's a biological barrier where they're like, I can't engage in this. I can't do it, and that's fine. I think that like this is what nobody's telling them. That's okay. It's okay to be heterosexual. It's okay to have a boundary when you're working and not wanting to do things with men or sleep with men. That's okay. It's
but there's no money
like,
there.
You don't have to.
And that's the problem.
But like, you know, But see, that's the thing. And they're like, oh, but I have to do it for the money. Listen, I feel like if that's something that you really can't do, you don't deserve the money. Like, you don't. Like, I'm sorry. Like, you know, yeah, you don't deserve the money. I'm sorry. If you can't really do it properly, you don't. I'm not paying you. I'm not giving. It's like, you know, would you really give your landscaper money if they couldn't even turn on the lawnmower and mow your lawn?
That is true.
No, you wouldn't. We're like, well, I wanted to mow your lawn because I wanted the money. Okay, but you didn't mow my lawn, so
Why
you're not getting the
paying
money.
you for that?
I'm like, you know, yeah.
I also,
yeah.
It definitely comes down to consumption. I also think in any career, you really want to be appreciated for the work that you do. And when it comes to like the heterosexual adult entertainment world, men rarely make it. You know, we're not really looking for them. You can ask the average consumer and they can name 50 women that they love and consume, but they can only name, I don't know, Johnny Sins as the only man that they know by name and really appreciate. But in the gay entertainment industry, it's different. You know, it's all men. So you all have an equal chance to make it. You all have an equal chance to make it big, in fact. And I think that's where the whole crossover starts, you know? Because a lot of them will start in like straight porn and like make a lot of money from that. But then they see like, oh, I can make even more that side. I'm gonna switch, you know? And that's how you get Timothy and his kind.
Yeah. So let's talk about Timothy. Now that we've kind of slid, for lack of a better term, we're sliding into this other part of the conversation. So Timothy is an interesting beast because on one hand, I do respect Timothy more than the other gay for pay girls because he's at least willing to do the thing. He's willing to do the thing for the performance of it all. And I respect that. And as a consumer, I appreciate that. And, you know, he doesn't seem to be not enjoying himself. However, the problem came in recently when he was trying to cross over to like normal, quote unquote, normal content, Instagram content, TikTok content. And he talked about his life as a content creator and like, you know, but instead of being like a day in my life, he was like, so this is how much money I get for sleeping with men on camera, and like gay people pay my bills and I get all this money off of gay people even though I'm not gay and I have a girlfriend and I'm straight. And like, even though all of those things were true and like, you know, his fans already knew that I think for them to actually see it and for him to actually be up there doing that, I just think it just rubbed someone the wrong way. It's like I know you're robbing me, but like
don't
for
make
you
it
to like
obvious.
wave the money that you stole from me in my face, like it's annoying. It's kind of like in relationships when like women know that their husbands are cheating, and they're okay with it until like it's in their face, and it's like, girl, I knew you were cheating, but you're gonna put it in my face.
Yeah,
like, we're gonna
people
fight.
don't like to feel disposable in any way, right? So when you are showing me all of the money that I'm giving you, plus many other people like me, because he was making a lot of money, like $100,000 per month. That is a huge amount. When you're constantly like tossing it like, oh yeah, I'm just making money off of these individuals and this is what it is, it rubs people the wrong way. Even in relationships, like you would get girls with sugar daddies and they would still make that sugar daddy feel special, you know? They don't make it obvious that they're there for the money. And I think that's where he lost it. He needed PR management, he needed PR classes, he needed to be careful about what he said and how it came across, but he didn't care about that. You know, it all went to his head. And that's where things started tumbling down for him.
Because the original story was, listen, I just do this to pay my bills, I'm straight, and I just make gay content for money. I think that would have been a fine explanation if he would have kept that. You know, I think there are plenty of people who are like, I don't care if he's straight. Or, you know, him being straight makes it harder. Because, you know, he has this kind of like straight white frat bro sort of aesthetic and vibe. And people like that. And, you know, they do that sort of thing. And I think he just could have flourished doing that. But then he was like, actually, I'm bisexual. or whatever. But
And it's like,
and then he switched from that, and then he switched back and forth from that a couple of times once he started losing money.
Then it was, oh, I'm gay.
And then, oh no, I'm actually gay and I'm leaving my girlfriend and like I need money to move and pay and help out my family. So like, could you keep?
And then
paying
it
me?
even went
And
worse.
like,
It was like, oh, I'm gay and I don't want to make this content anymore. At least with many other people, I'm just looking for one boyfriend to make the content with. So then it was like, oh, okay, where are we getting at, sweetie?
we definitely don't want to see that.
We love the collaboration.
I was like, actually, it was kind of entertaining to see who he would collaborate this week. So if it was just like the same boring white person he was with, I would be like, I'll pass.
We're not buying that, sweetie.
You know, but then even on top of that, I think I grew out of his content before even all of that happened because he got like ridiculously muscular to the point where it's like, it was just kind of too much and I kind of stopped finding it attractive.
Right.
You know, but I just think that was like just a stupid career move for him because if just being honest, I think a lot of people would have respected him more if he just would have been like, hey, I'm just gay for pay, and like that's what it is.
And he would have still been making a lot of money if he just stuck to that. You know, it feels wrong. It feels forbidden. Like, oh my God, you have a girlfriend and you're doing all of these things. What does she think? It's really hot. And if he had stuck to that, he would still be making a lot more money. But he decided to ruin that.
He's been trying to come back. I've been seeing his videos being shared on the timeline. He's back to collaborating with the Menses. And but I just personally,
it's too late. I think people are fed up. People are fed up.
You know. And then he was like, well, I'm not the only one who does it. And like, there are other people in the industry that I could expose. And Joey Mills knows this and blah, 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 blah. And it's like, okay, but they're smart enough to keep their mouths shut.
Exactly.
Like, they're not blabbing about how they're robbing us
Also,
blind.
we don't care to hear it from you anymore because we don't care about you anymore. And that's the worst part. If he had said all of this in the beginning of his career, that would have been revolutionary. Like, oh my God, like a huge expose. But now it's like, oh, do you actually mean what you say? Or are you only saying it because you're in hot water and your income is suffering?
And not for nothing, I think that him talking about how hard the job actually is was actually like refreshing, and him being like, listen, you know,
it's not easy.
I give it, but I also take it. And like, that shit, I don't like it, and that shit hurts, but I do it and I fake it till I make it for the content, for the people, for the fans. And you know, it's just a really hard job. I think that was actually like interesting. I think it was a good angle, and I think that was good content he was making on YouTube to supplement his adult content. But you know, all that sharing the money, and then I'm gay, but then I'm bi, but then I'm hetero, like it just was just too much.
It was. And I'm glad that he's going through this cancellation. I'm over him, girl. Like, personally, I've never enjoyed the content. I always thought like his stroke game was not the best. I also find him really cringy. I was actually shocked when I was researching into him further because I met him during his current phase. So like what he looks like now, where he looks like a very not so attractive, not so hot.
It's giving 80s.
Yes, it's giving very weird. Like he looks undead, if that's the kindest way to put it.
Yeah, he looks like a vampire. But original him, like when he came out,
I was like, this is what
fine.
this man used to look like? I get that. Like, I would have fully hopped onto that train.
That's how he got us originally.
Because I was shocked. I was like, this man makes a lot of money looking like that. Oh, absolutely not. And then I saw earlier pictures of him in earlier videos, and I was like, oh, makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense.
And notice in his current videos, like whether he's like doing the deed or not, he's always sweating.
He's always moist.
Usually sweating.
And it's just
like
icky.
He's always moist. His hair is always wet.
It's not a good look. It's not a good look.
It's just like, I just know the room stank.
I just know it smells crazy in there, okay?
I just know it smells crazy.
Why is no one telling him? I guess there's an audience for it, so probably, you know.
This is an audience
White
for
guys
it,
get away with everything. They get away with everything.
But see, this is another thing where it was like I was never that disappointed because I was never that invested in sympathy, because I'm gonna tell you a secret. This is something that is unique. This is something that's revolutionary. This is something that, you know, I don't think a lot of other gay men can say. I prefer gay men. I do. In terms of like having sex, in terms of dating, in terms of going to the bar to have a drink, in terms of going to the movies, hell, even giving a cup of coffee. I think every day out of the week, I would pick a queer person, a gay man, over some straight dude any day of the week. And that's in terms of being attracted to them. That's in terms of them being conversationalists. That's in terms of, you know, the super happy adult fun time and how good it is. You know, I just think that being with someone who likes you, is attractive to you, who wants you, and who is open and free and fun, I think that'll always be more appealing to me than someone who is quiet and stoic and you know, typically portrayed as angry. Someone who, you know, is like turn around and take it. Someone who is like very like, you know, kind of cold. There's no tenderness to it because it's like you're not really. You're just kind of doing it to do it, and I say this all the time when I'm talking about, you know, my happy adult fun time life. It's like I don't like feeling like I'm disconnected when I'm doing it. I want to feel like we're doing something together, not you're using my body to masturbate. Essentially, like you're just using my body like we have to be in an experience together. And I think that, you know, porn and all of that, I think that's kind of desensitized some of that and made that kind of fuzzy. But in terms of like being beguiled by gay for pay artist or straight artist or whatever your straight scamming artist, I tend to not be as susceptible to that because I don't find myself fetishizing, preferring, you know, straight, quote unquote, straight men. And I think what, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think when people say straight men, they don't really mean straight men. They just mean men who are hyper masculine, who could pass as straight, like a Timothy Champagne.
I would argue, actually. I would argue against that. I do think they mean... think they mean straight. I think the whole idea of the straight men is so, like, pedestalized. It's huge. So you would have a masked gay man, but because you know that they identify as gay, it kind of knocks them down a little, you know? Because I was reading a lot of that, where, you know, the whole idea about the straight guy is that he will use your body, right? You're disposable. You're essentially a toy to him. And that's the whole appeal to that. Like, he wants it so bad that you're the nearest thing and he will use you to get what he wants. And that's the whole appeal around that. But with gay men, even if he's masked, it's like, oh, you're still gay, you know? Like, oh, you're one of the girls. So it kind of puts people off a little bit. So I get what you're saying. But yeah, that's where it is. You have to be straight to be attractive to the majority of people.
Yeah, to me, that... I agree with you that that's a thing, number one. I just want to get that out of the way. I agree with you. I just also just feel like my brain is totally wired the opposite way, because I feel like that way of thinking, even though it's a mass, like a lot of people think that way, I think that's delusion. I think that's mental illness. And I'm being serious. I feel like that is a really powerful delusion that our community is in, because to me, that doesn't touch me. It doesn't give attractive. To me, it gives fear. To me, it gives, these are the people that harm us. To me, it gives, these are the people that, you know, I was scared of growing up, that, like, you know, bullied me or whatever. And I get that, like, you know, because this is the thing. Everyone teaches you how to be there's a roadmap to how to be a straight guy. There's a roadmap to be a straight woman. There's no roadmap in society to be a gay man, because you're not supposed to be one. You're not supposed to be one. So growing up, like, the things that we are supposed to find attractive in men, we're watching that on TV, blah, 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 blah. Like, so the kind of guys that our female friends or our female counterparts are liking, those are the same kind of guys that, like, I feel like we're conditioned to be attracted to. You know, that hypermasculinity of it all. But, like, as someone who's kind of, like, grown and evolved and kind of changed over the years, I realized that it's, like, to me, for my default attraction is someone who is not attracted to me on principle, who cannot be affectionate, cannot be loving, cannot be open to me. That's just gonna be a turn off every time. It's gonna be a turn off every time. And I think that another thing that's rare that I have is, like, I just really like gay. I think that gay people are better people. I just like them. I can't explain it. I just like them more. Like if a great night to me is if I'm around a bunch of sisters. Like that's just how I am. That's just how I prefer to be. Like 5 years ago, you could say, oh, all your friends are girls. Now I think I have about 2 or 3 girlfriends, but all my other friends are queer people. Because they're just my people. It's just like, I think the other night I was on a date and I was with a dude or whatever. I think it was to a gay bar, and I was just like, I'm in euphoria. Like, I love gay people so much. Like, this is like 10 out of 10. There's nowhere I'd rather be. You know, and I feel the same way about black people too, where it's like, I think black people are the best people. Those are the people who I want to be around the most. So, especially black queer people, like, period. Like, that's just who I want to be around. So, there's just so much centering around the opposite, centering around who hates you the most, when, like, the people who love you the most are, like, right there. I think that, like, you know, I know so many gay men who it's like, they will go to the straight bars, or they'll hang out with, you know, guys or whatever, trying to change, trying to have this, like, fantasy that, oh, this is gonna be that, you know, the masked meetups, like, they'll do so much of that, and, like, that's like that's just what they like, that's just what they're attracted to on principle, on default. But then the person that is just as attractive, just as tall, just as muscular, just as beautiful, but they're gay and they have a fag scent and they like, you know, they like flavored margaritas. So they're a sister and ew and da 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 da. And it's like, I don't know, man. I like fun.
That is so profound to me. It sounds like you've done a lot of like internal work to unlearn all of the things that are conditioned into us, you know, like as queer people. We're taught to blend in. We're taught to be like the next person. And a lot of us give into that, you know. I relate to that a lot. And I think it's really beautiful. Oh my God, I'm actually tearing up. And I see sometimes with like masked gays, it's like the performance is see-through, right? Like I see you're trying to play up this character, and you're really wanting to let the diva out, you know? But you can't, because that's not necessarily quote unquote attractive. You're supposed to be masked. You're supposed to be masculine. You're supposed to like manly things, and being gay is not something that should totally define you, even though it does, you know? So they will play up these characters to be attractive, to find love, to find community, and they will surround themselves with straight people, and never really give themselves a chance to discover who they are, to discover their people, to find community in spaces that are not cis heteronormative. And it takes a lot of self-reflection. It takes a lot of unlearning. It takes a lot of self-love to outgrow that, to say enough. Like, I don't want to perform anymore. I am masked, yes, but I want to be with other queer people. Or I'm not masked, and that's okay. I want to paint my nails. I want to wear heels. I want to do eyeshadow here and there. I want to have gay friends. I want to frequent gay spaces. And I think we need more of that. I think we need to encourage people to say, it's okay to step outside of the box. We're not in the 80s anymore where we're trying to convince straight people that we just want to be like them. We just want love. We just want marriage. We just want families. That shit worked then. It's not the type of shit that will save us now. Excuse my swearing, Right now we need extra gay shit. to say it the most bluntly. Like, you need to be queer as fuck right now, because with conservatism on the rise, with all of this right-wing talk, with all of these, this fear-mongering against gay people and trans people and femphobia and all of these things, we need people who are loud. We need people who are not going to say, hey, we just want to blend in, because that didn't work, okay? We don't want to blend in, okay? I want to go to gay bars. I want to hang out around other gay people. I want to be femme. I want to vogue in the streets. I want to vogue in the hood, and that be celebrated and not, fear for my life. I think that's where we need to be getting, and this whole trying to play a part and sticking to our internalized homophobia because it's safe really doesn't work anymore. I think that should go out of the window. So yeah, that is really beautiful what you just said. I really I love that.
It saddens me that other people don't inherently feel the same way about who they are and their own community. Every time I suck a dick, it is a spiritual experience for me, because I'm like, okay, there's no way. Where else would I be? Where else would I be but here? And
love it.
Who else would I be doing this with other than another queer person? Even me being bisexual and being with women, straight girls, no shade, it's a chop. It's a chop for y'all. Straight girls, you will never catch me with one. You will never, ever catch me with a straight girl. No. Queer women is where it's at. And earlier, when you said you've done a lot of internal work, people have done a lot of internal work in me. And that is where I'm like, okay, this is just inherently better. Going back to the content creator portion of the conversation, do you know who I feel like is the absolute inverse of Timothy Champagne?
Ooh.
I think the person who is the inverse of him is Raheem Shabazz.
Okay.
Raheem and black gays, y'all know how y'all know how I'm talking about when I say Raheem.
We know who you're talking about.
Raheem. We all
you
know
cannot
Raheem.
know
Y'all know who Raheem is. You can't not know Raheem. I think he is the king of the black content creators. Because this is what I say about Raheem. I think Raheem just love what he do. When you watch his videos, you can tell there is nowhere he would rather be than inside the random black man he has brought to his studio for that day to film on them white ass sheets.
On them, them sheets always white. Okay.
them sheets are always a bright ass white, and they're always in some sunny ass hotel room with a big ass view. I love that. I think Raheem is always going to do you from the root of your scalp to your toenail every single time.
He wants every single part of you.
There will not be he wants everything. There's not going to be a nook, a cranny, a stone unturned on you. It's going everywhere because he likes men, and he likes being with men. He likes swimming. He likes doing sex in general. It's not like Timothy's oh my god, this is a chore. Like, this hurts. This is a lot on my body. And not saying it's not a lot on Raheem's body too, but it's like, it's not like a hard, laborious, terrible chore that he's enduring only for a paycheck.
You become you
know what I mean?
Into his world. Like, he brings you in. If
like, he brings
feels
in.
amazing, and I love that it's just black. You know, he made black sensuality a thing in a space that's very, very white, you know? And he made us attractive. He made us sexy. He made us love and F hard, you know?
In more ways than one. And not only with the black stuff, also he films with people with different body types too. And of course he comes with, he also comes from films with the white boys, the Spanish boys, all of that. Actually, a couple of years ago, he only films with white allegation, which I thought was kind of crazy because I follow him, I'm like, okay, but he normally films with his black partner most of the time anyway. Like,
I think we expect that from them, you know? We're at the point now where when we have a prominent black gay figure, we just want them to be with a white person because that seems like the only way. You know, that's the rule in Hollywood.
I feel like we want it for a gotcha moment of, oh, look at him, he like only likes to fuck on white, or look at him, he has a white boy. It's like, no, you're not gonna get Raheem with that. Like, Raheem, you're not gonna get Raheem with that. Raheem, shout out to him. I just feel like he is the inverse of a Timothy Champagne. Like, just the inverse. Humble, you know, like, when people are like, oh my God, you're you. He's like, really? I'm me? And then nobody's, yeah, you're you. You're you.
And I'm glad that he's getting the love and the recognition, because that's rare, you know? He shouldn't be getting that by what we've seen so far. And the fact that he can pull the numbers that he pulls and the views that he pulls and the collaborations that he pulls, that's insane. That's power right there. Kudos to him.
Yes. So moving on from the content creators, I kind of wanted to get into some rapid fire, you know, more examples of queerbaiting. So now, Choppa, thoughts?
Choppa.
Like,
okay.
Is he a queerbaiter? Like,
I don't think he's a queerbaiter. I mean, we discussed what queerbaiting isn't, and we think self-expression isn't queerbaiting. A little flamboyance here and there isn't necessarily queerbaiting. But Choppa is an interesting case because he was actively gunning for a gay audience at one point, you know? Him talking about going to Atlanta Pride was a great way to rope in the gays. Him posting a lot more shirtless pictures and, you know, like teasing, all of that was playing for the gays. So I think he saw the benefits of having a queer audience and wanted some of that for himself. But I don't necessarily think he was queerbaiting, you know? I just think he was, I don't know how to describe it. Like, he saw value in a community.
I feel like he was trying to be more fashionable, and I feel like a lot of like rap fashion for men that's still masculine is like butch queen fashion, and like you just started looking like a butch queen, and they were like, he's stealing our style, he must be one of us. And even though that's not the case, but I just feel like, why even do that to him, because he's been so supportive in his interviews. Like, he's always like, you know, I don't judge anybody, I don't, you know, like, I support my brothers, that I support, you know, shout out to them, I love my gays, I love my gay fans, you know, all of that. So I don't know why it was like a problem. I do think part of it is sometimes y'all just want certain artists to be queer because you think they're fine, and that's all right. There are plenty of people that I'm like, oh, I wish he was, you know, down, because I would want him, but...
And it's like, sweetie, that's a celebrity, you know? You're not gonna get him even if he was queer. I also think that we do not allow black men to play with fashion as much as we allow white men to do so. So him diverting from what a rapper should look like was kind of a big problem. And that's where the whole, oh, he's definitely fruity came about. So I think we should allow black men to play with skirts. Like, look at Kid Cudi. He can wear a dress and he rarely gets, oh, he must be gay allegations. So I think we should allow more of that, you know? Let them play with skirts. Let them play with makeup. Let them play with heels, although I've never seen them in heels. But put Anna Lee in some stilettos. And let's see what he can make of that. I think that could be a fun thing to see, especially in hip hop. Like, it shouldn't be that serious.
Yeah. So for sure. So next, rapid fire. How we feel about Benson Boone?
Okay, you know how you feel about Harry Styles? That's like exactly how I feel about Benson Boone. Okay, listen. I found out he's Mormon actually, which makes a lot of sense. His music does sound.
He looks Mormon.
The music sounds aggressively Mormon. No shade. My thing with Benson Boone is you are styling yourself very queer, right? His fashion is very fun. It's glittery. It's rompers. It's very Harry Styles fashion. And you're paying homage to queer icons like Queen. He was performing Bohemian Rhapsody. He did a lot of Queen. He had a member of Queen on his Coachella set. That is you're immersing yourself in the queer space a little bit. But also, you have this album that sounds very poppy so far. Like the 2 singles he's teased are very pop singles. But then the imagery is very Americana. You have an American flag. You're oily. You just look aggressively right-wing, for lack of a better word. So it's like, what are you trying to do? Like, how are you branding yourself? What are you trying to communicate? I know you have 1 or 2 gay friends, but sweetie, that's not enough. You can't be saying that you're inspired by this iconic gay figure, but you're also rapping this thing that's very, or perceived to be very anti-gay. So he gives mixed messaging intentionally, and that really bothers me. Because we don't really know his politics, because he's never spoken out. And I don't think people are gonna ask him. He has a very straight audience, basically. So nobody is really checking for him like that. But yeah.
I don't really have an opinion on Benson Boone. I think he's attractive in a white guy kind of way.
Yeah.
But other than that, I have no interest in him negatively or positively. I think for me, a lot of the style now among the queer community is very 80s and synths and having mullets and big old porn stashes. That's the hot queer fashion right now, especially for white gays. That's the fashion. So I think that when guys have that now, gay or straight, it's just oh, you're fruity because you have a mullet and a big ass furry stash, and you're muscular.
You're modeling yourself
so
after that, so it reads off as that. Yes, I get you.
Yes. Who else is on our little list? Now, I also want to talk about other artists who are queer, but how different experiences can kind of mix that up, because you have somebody like a Frank Ocean, you have somebody like a Lil Nas X, and then you have somebody on the extreme of queer spectrum. You have Saucy Santana, who we talked about earlier. And I think that kind of goes back to our Cardis a little bit of our Megans, where it's you present a certain way, and that's different than someone who doesn't present a certain way or presents it a different way. And I think that Frank Ocean is one of those people where it's if you didn't know he was a fruit, you just wouldn't know, because it's not it's not really a thing. It's not a thing that walks in with him in a room. And if you wanted to, you could divorce his queerness from his art and nothing would change. You have like some lines in there here and there, like my guy pretty like a girl, but other than that, like
you're not really getting that from him.
Nothing. Yeah, you're not really getting that, and there's no really speaking up on issues. There's none of that. But on top of that, there's also no backlash to Frank either, ever. It's just like, Frank is amazing. Frank is a genius. Frank. And then, similar with Tyler, the creator. Oh, Tyler. Oh, he's a genius. Oh, did he just hear this? Oh, see the symbols in all this and that. And like, they're these genius men. And they're so loved, and everyone's like, they're so talented. I wonder why that is. I wonder where that comes from. I wonder what they have in common. And like, it was just like, no one's gonna say it, no one's gonna talk about it. All right, cool. Moving on.
Yeah.
But like, I don't think that like either of them queerbait at all. I just feel like they move in a way where you could divorce their queerness from their art. Now, Lil Nas X, despite what people want to say, Lil Nas X is not femme. Lil Nas X is not feminine at all. He is not. That's not his persona. He acts like gay and fruity in his music videos and his art and interviews, and sometimes to piss off straight people because that's a gimmick, because he's a troll.
He does it for the backlash. He does it
he's
for
like,
the views.
I'm gonna wear. Well, a little bit, yeah. But like, right? He plays it up for controversy because it's like, look at me, I'm in a pink jumpsuit and I'm shaking my ass, and this doesn't that get me so mad? And and that has its place, and the straights, they hate that, and I love that they hate that, and good for him. But he'll never experience like the sort of like inherent nose that someone like Saucy Santana will get. But again, that's not to invalidate, that's just saying how experiences are different, because Saucy Santana will also never get the same level of scrutiny that Lil Nas X has, because Lil Nas X has a huge platform.
I think Saucy has been gay from the jump, and that.
Yeah, he could have never hit that.
So that alienated a lot of straight audiences that potentially could have gotten into the music. Now, whether the music is good or not, that's up for debate. But for him, like, there was no chance. The average Javon was not gonna bump a Saucy song. In contrast to like Frank and Tyra, who presented themselves with their music first, and people really got to fall in love with that. And then it came out that, oh, by the way, they are queer men. One is bi, one is gay. So then that was like, oh, okay, we can look over that because the music is so good. And
we can
the music is good, and they don't present that way. So it's like, oh, he's like one of the bros. He just happens to like a bro, And Tyler, the Creator, is great because he will play into that sometimes. Like every time he's interviewed with his guy friends like A$AP Rocky, he's saying pretty gay shit, But I think because he's masked and he makes really good music, it's like we can tolerate that. So the average straight man is not put off by a Tyler or a Frank. And Lil Nas X is the sweet spot because Old Town Road blew up and nobody knew he was gay, right? It was like, okay, this cool kid is doing a mix of country and hip hop. Wow, we're tuning in. And then he became, that gay rapper, And that's all he got reduced to. But I think because he was a little bit masked at that time and he was playing with like a Jack Harlow, it was still like tolerable. And then he amped up the troll antics, and that's when people started clicking off, essentially.
I think, like, for whatever reason, they were like, J. Christ is too much. It's too far. You're making fun of, like, you're bullying Christian people. You're making fun of Christian people. You already made fun of Christian people in Call Me By Your Name. And you can't make fun of Christian people twice because they're Christian. And you can't do that to them.
That was it. Christians. Yes. If J. Christ had come out a few years ago, it would have been a hit. Because it was not a terrible song. Mm-hmm. I just think it came out at...
It was a good song. They were just like, can you do something else?
Exactly.
Can you do something else?
It just came out at a wrong time. I'm like... Christians feel like they're being hunted right now. This is not the time to make fun of them because they will come at you. So, yeah. Like, he didn't read the room.
I was like, I guess we don't like J. Christ. Even other gay people were like, he's doing too much. He's provoking them now.
He's playing it.
And I'm
We're
like,
over it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right. But okay. I mean, this latest album that's come out is pretty good, though.
The EP? Yeah, I enjoyed that. I will say, though, that I'm glad that it happened. It's sad that it happened, but I'm really glad because we never see that with, like, male pop stars where they expected to reinvent themselves continuously. We expect that from women a lot, but from men, like, they can do the same thing 50,000 times. I'm looking at you, little baby. And it will still be ate up, you know? But with women, it's like, oh, give us a different era. Give us different hair. Give us a different genre, even. Look at Beyonce. Beyonce has been doing multiple genres. She's been an alternative artist since Self-Titled, right? And we constantly expect that from her. But with the men, it's like, oh, you just do the same thing and we'll eat it up. So Lil Nas getting that, although it was accompanied with a lot of homophobia, it shows a little progress that potentially we could shift that to straight male artists as well. Like, give us reinventions. That was a little tangent, but yeah, that was all I had to say with that matter.
I appreciate that. I definitely appreciate that. Yeah, I think we have pretty much covered all of our bases. We've talked about what queerbaiting is, what queerbaiting isn't, the nuances of who can and who can't, and why people do it, and why people love it. Actually, I don't think we talked about this. One of the more egregious forms of it was this little Russian girl group from the 90s and early 2000s called Tattoo. And they had this, like, gimmick where it was, like, they were schoolgirls, but they were kind of lesbians and they were kind of gay. And it was like, oh, my God. And, like, that was just kind of a thing they did to, like, get attention and money and whatever. And, you know, they disbanded and, you know, years later, like, oh, yeah, it was going to be played up for money and whatever.
Very performative. A documentary of the girls called Anatomy of Tattoo focused on their life, and they ultimately revealed that they weren't lesbians. The idea for the girls to take on this act was largely the producer of the group's idea, Ivan Shopalov. In an interview with the Daily Beast, Katina said, I looked at it as my role, like a movie. I never was a lesbian. I never was attracted to a girl. Likewise, Vukova was also living life as an openly straight woman with a long-term boyfriend some years later. The girls would later express their discontent with Ivan. He spends his time thinking up new scandals instead of planning our artistic work. I'm sure our fans would rather hear new songs and new albums than new scandals, said Vukova. Katina later made this comment about their manager. He made us out to be lesbians, when we were just singing for lesbians. We wanted people to understand them and not judge them, that they are as free as anyone else. They made headlines globally, not for any performance or weighted reunion, but because one of the members was spewing homophobic remarks. Yes, the fake lesbian is homophobic. Vukova was asked if she would condemn her son if he was gay in an interview. She responded by saying, yes, I would condemn him, because I believe that a real man must be a real man. She continued, I won't accept a gay son. I think for men, it's a bad freedom. In our time, there is a very large number of frivolous girls, and a man can be with a large number of these girls. This is freedom for men, and a man has no right to be two girls together, not the same thing as two men together. It seems to me that lesbians look aesthetically much nicer than two men holding their hands or kissing. But I want to say that I'm not against gays. I just want my son to be a real man, not a... I have many gay friends. I believe that being gay is still better than murderers, thieves, or drug addicts. If you choose out of all of this, being gay is a little better than the rest.
And just like, they wrote some queerbait hits, okay? They wrote all the things she said, oh my God. Like, they wrote some queerbait hits, for sure. I just think it's, like, crazy that it's, like, they had this whole gay for pay, scheme thing going on, but then one of the ladies, she's like, if my son was ever gay, I would beat him the fuck up. Like, him being gay, that's not an option. And I'm just like, that's crazy.
It is, because you did gay shit for a little while, you know? So you would think
Like,
that,
it was
right?
for a check,
but you would
you
think that
know.
experience would open you up to like, oh, this is something that people don't necessarily get to choose, because why would you do this? It reminds me of Carisha and her saying that she would never have a gay son, right?
Yes.
But your best friend's gay, you know?
But I feel like Carisha, she's clicked some kitty before. But it's one of those, like, it don't mean nothing. Because, like there are a lot of, like, DL women who will like women, enjoy women, but will not identify as gay, will not identify as bisexual. Because it's like, again, it's not something they take seriously. It's just a silly thing that girls do from time to time. You know, at the end of the day, like, society is not gonna value a woman for being with another one. Society rewards women for finding a man. Oh, you found a good man. So, oh, he's a good man. You found a man, and you know he's rich, and you get to die, and you get to live this lifestyle. You get to divest, and you get to do this and that. I'm like, society will reward you as a woman to an extent for getting with some man and having children. Like that validation. There's no validation like that for women and women relationships. There's no because you know when it's men and women, we get to perform patriarchy. We get to, you know, the man, you know, goes and makes the money and pays the bills and pays for everything and has this great life or works hard, and then you get to cook for your man and have his babies and, you know, do all of the servitude that and as a society, and when you're a woman who does that, we're gonna reward you. But we're not gonna, in America, at least in America, we're not gonna punish you for being with a woman. We're not gonna reward you. We're not gonna give you that validation. There's no, like, you know, woman that gets to be like, I'm gonna dream of my dream fairy tale wedding day to a woman where everyone loves and accepts that and is excited about that. You know, for these traditional women, except for these traditional black patriarchal women, that's not appealing. That's not a prize. That's not something that they get to enjoy socially. So it's like, I'm a click my kitty in the dark.
Period.
But in the light, I'm not gay. I don't like women. She know I want to be with a man. She know I want a man. I don't know why she thought I wanted to be with her just because I said I loved her and I made love to her and I moved in with her and I lived with her for 5 years and we filed taxes together. But what made her think that I was gay?
Exactly.
I'm not gay.
You know, I was just having my little fun time. That's all it was.
And I was like, girl,
like, it's okay, you know, if you want to be with her, be with her.
Like,
I get that. There's a huge
DL
pressure
girls
for women to be with men and nothing else. Because men do love.
I mean, shout out to Chaperone and her Cophead hit.
Yes.
Good luck, babe.
100%. And hopefully we see more chaperones. You know, I want lesbian domination.
Actually, I think Good Luck Babe came out a year ago. Like a couple of days ago, it was a year since Good Luck Babe came out. So I'm like, happy birthday, Good Luck Babe. We love you. Hopefully she'll make another hit. We
streamed you like crazy.
And hopefully she'll make another hit and scrap The Giver.
You didn't like The Giver?
And don't. I've tried so hard. I've tried listening to it sped up. I tried listening to it slowed down. I tried listening to it as a remix. Okay? I tried listening to it mashed up with a different song. I'm like, I do not like The Giver.
Is it because it's country?
No, because I like country. I actually like country. I like country a lot. But I don't like the melody. And I don't like the melody. I don't like the chorus. I don't like the lyrics.
Okay. That's fair. That's fair. Can't relate, but that's fair.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad people like The Giver, but I was like, give me something else, Chapel.
Give me
please.
something to really get down to. Yeah.
Give me something I can feel. Something.
I get that. Yeah.
But yes, we have covered a lot of bases. This is such a great conversation. Thank you so much for coming on the channel. You are so much fun. I like the way you think. I like that, like, you're very inquisitive and you're very introspective, and like I like that you're allowed to like change your mind on something. And a lot of people do not have the courage to do that. So I appreciate that. I appreciate your ability to keep up with me in a conversation, because not many people can do that.
I mean, I loved it. Thank you for having me. I've learned a lot today. I think I came here to listen and really get into it, and it was fun. I felt like, we're sitting down in a little bougie bar, just having our little kiki session, and that's what it felt like. And yeah, I really appreciate this.
Yes, I just feel like that's what this channel has naturally morphed into, me having conversational sort of things. Yes, but I hope that people continue to subscribe to you. I hope your channel grows. I hope that you continue to make more hits and more bangers.
Same to you, sister. Okay, let's dominate this. Okay,
let's take
the world is not ready
for
us.
Let's
That's what I'm
over.
saying. Period.
Let's do this again
soon. We still have a lot to discuss, and we barely scratched the surface.
Yeah, because there was even stuff today where I was like, bitch, we didn't get into it, but there's always next time. There's always next time, for sure.
Yeah, right,
sure.
sister.
Yes.
Love this.
All right, Maximillionaires, you know what I always say. May the power protect you. Bye-bye.